2 months, basically, of a game that's basically just come out a few months ago, right? And 2 of those months people don't give a crap about. That's so bad for long-term player care and attention and retention for a game. Honestly, I like this pacing. It gives me time for other shit and then they hit hard. So it's a dip in, dip out kind of thing. Do you know why I disagree with this take? Okay. Overall, in general, with a gacha game, sure, you want there to be able to think you dip in, do your time, dip out, and it's all good, okay? The difference is, the first 6 months of a gacha game's life cycle is so important for long-term player retention and investment. You want the people who are invested from the very start to kind of carry it through, right? So when you have pacing, which means after like a month, people kind of drop off, they don't care, they don't really, then when a new patch drops, they kind of and ah when they should return to play it. That's not good. And that's also not great for the company. For the first 6 months of a gacha game's life cycle, they have to kind of be on the ball and putting out content that's very good pretty regularly. Hell, even like 3 months. Let's just say even 3 months. And I don't think Wuthering Waves has been doing that. I'm gonna be so real. Like, Honkai Star Rail came out with banger after banger after banger. You could argue that the Lawfu wasn't, like, as amazing. I personally quite liked the Lawfu, but they still were releasing regular content that was pretty good really often for the first 3 to 6 months of the game's life cycle. And that did a huge justice to, 1, the play-based community, 2, player retention, right? Which are the key things you need to keep people long-term invested in the game. The way Wuthering Waves is working right now, the way it's paced, we had 1.0 and we had 1.1, and now we're heading into a 1.2 filler patch already after how many months? It's like, it doesn't feel right to me. I'm sorry, but it feels, ugh. It feels, ugh. You know, so it says, Genshin didn't add shit until 1.2. Okay, but Genshin came out how many years ago now? Genshin came out how many years ago? And it was the only, like, big, like, gacha of its time. Right? Obviously, it was like a gacha game, but it was the biggest gacha of its time. It was testing the waters, but it set the mold to what others should do. And I really feel like now, in this day and age, when we compare ourselves to all these other gacha games that have come out, what is a successful model? What's really good for player retention? What's really good for, you know, how a game should progress? I don't feel like this model is, like, particularly that great. It's just preparation to 2.0. It is a preparation for 2.0, but it just feels, ugh. It just feels, ugh. Like I feel like I haven't reached like a conclusion with it. That's probably just me though. Like it is probably more of a me thing, but I feel kind of like there's an itch to scratch with Woo that hasn't been kind of met. And it's just, I feel like, you know, the peak, we had the peak of the story with 1.1, but it didn't feel like the build-up I was expecting. It doesn't feel like this big, I don't know, I can't explain what it is. No, I do agree with Cap's take. Yeah, I agree with the itch. It felt like it left something that should have been there that just kind of wasn't solved for me. Do you know what I mean? Like with Honkai Star Rail, we had all of Belobog to do, right? Just like 1.0 with Wuthering Waves, we had all the Belobog stuff to do. Then it was straight to the Lawfu, where it was like 2 patches of like content and story to get through, which I found pretty interesting. And Wuthering Waves, we had 1.1 patch, where the first half of the story was kind of fucking dog shit. And then it got really good halfway through and we got Jujue. But they kind of, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, it's just like, it didn't feel right. And now we have to wait, and then 1.2 is going to be filler, and then it's going to be 2.0. Like, the pacing just doesn't feel right to me. Like, you could disagree and say that's a personal preference thing. That's totally fucking fine. Like, that's fine. I'm just coming from my point of view. Like, Wuthering Waves just, I don't feel that like, oh, I'm so excited to see what's next. I'll be real. I don't really care that much about the Fraxidus. They're supposed to be this whatever group of people, but we don't really get much on them. We've been kind of drip-fed information that is so like little and few and far between that I don't really care that much at this point. It's so like, this setup and the suspense for 2.0 just isn't there for me. Is you sure at the end of patches? Yep. And also, I didn't like at the end of 1.1, the big lore dumps for everything coming up was just a text, pick your response answer conversation with Jue. Like, I didn't think that's good writing. Like, having all the exposition right at the very end when we talk to the big dragon. Like, I don't think that's good storytelling. and it just didn't get me excited. It's like, I feel that stuff should be told to you in certain ways and given suspense. You don't give me any suspense when I'm just sitting there pressing buttons in a back and forth conversation. 1.2 is not going to be the patch people think it is. And if it's going to be a filler patch, it's going to be like another month long. Oh my god. Like, it's going to be like 2 months of not really that much happening with this game. That's terrible for the first 6 months of player attention for this game.
Victory will be
That's
ours.
the kind of thing. Like, it's not good. People were really excited at the beginning, but now that their pacing is just all over the place. It's crazy. You think people are willing to wait? People will wait and they'll probably play it when it comes out. But the problem is, MJ, right? The problem is some people will probably be like, I don't care anymore. It's been far too long. I don't care to do it. So they won't do it immediately. We will see a stark rise in people who won't like immediately log into a patch day one. They'll probably come like a week or so after the patch has been out, and then they'll play, right? And then they'll come back and play when they see people say it's good or bad about it. If people say it's bad, they're not going to come back and play. So we're going to see, I predict that we're going to see the day one numbers for the 1.2 patch aren't going to be that high. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. Or when it releases and they realize, oh, it literally is just a filler patch, people aren't just going to be playing it after the couple days. And we're just not going to see it. People are going to start complaining. And what if they shorten 1.2 by a week? I don't think that makes a fucking difference. I think shortening the patch by a week doesn't make a fucking difference. If the 1.2 patch kind of flops, people are going to be like, yeah, I've already waited a month. This is kind of a flop as well. I'm not going to play this either. Then you've got 2 months, basically, of a game that's basically just come out a few months ago, right? And 2 of those months people don't give a crap about. That's so bad for long-term player care and attention and retention for a game. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if they shorten it by a week. You have to grab that player base at the start, because they're going to be the core ones who will spread the game by word of mouth, right? You need a core platform of audience to like tell you how good the game is. And also, people can't make content about a game when it's either filler patches or not that much going on for months on end. People aren't going to be making content of your game. Heck, people aren't going to be playing your game. Making content of these games is one of the best marketing tools for them. Like, what do they expect people to do? It's crazy. Like, think with Hawkeye Star when that came out. There was so much content for months about that game for the first 6 months. For Wuthering, it's like trickled down to basically almost nothing in the first like 2-3 months. Like, it's just insane. Oh my god. Yeah, my main gripes with Wuthering is they could do so many more interesting things with what they have, but they seem to not use it all. Exactly. Where are the interesting events? Hello? Like, this is what, like, you could add so many things. Like, 1.1, it's been such a long patch, and there's been absolutely nothing to do. The game doesn't give you anything to care about. It doesn't give you anything to care about. It really does feel like they released the game without all the things they wanted to do in place, right? To kind of compete with everyone else, because they knew all these new gachas were coming out. Zenless Zone Zero, Neverness to Everness, Project Mugen, all this Azure Premilia, all this other game. They wanted to be out there quicker, so it really does feel like, damn, you know, let's just get it out. We haven't got all our events ready, but screw it, let's do it. That's why the first event when this game released, like the jumping puzzle stuff people like complained about, was ass, and no one gave a crap about it. This is a dog tier. This is worse than Genshin events. You know what I mean? Like crazy.
Victory will be ours.
My other main issue with Wuthering is resource management as well. Yeah, let's not talk about like Echo XP. Let's not talk about Echo XP or anything like that, because we all know it's just terrible. Maybe just me, but as a random guy with a full-time job, I don't mind logging in for 5 minutes a day until they eventually release some stuff. I'll be real, that's fine. If you don't mind logging in 5 minutes a day, that's fine. I do. I'm a super casual, guys. But you all know this. I am what they call a gacha tourist. I will play a game when it's interesting. And there's a reason why I've barely logged on to Wuthering Waves since the 1.1 patch dropped. I did the main story, I did some stuff for the event, and then I just did not care. I didn't feel inspired to come play again and grind and prepare for the next patches. Because I'll be real, I didn't find the suspense or excitement enough to want to grind. If I get excited for the upcoming patches and I'm like, oh, that seems really interesting, I'm going to be playing the game more so I get prepared. I don't feel like getting ready to get prepared for 1.2. I don't give a fuck. While you're also a content creator, you should demand more. What do you mean by that? I just look into my days to log out. Usually depends if there's nothing to do. There was still a profit even before, even though it was small, there was still profit. having small profit doesn't really mean that much. They still might be using money to develop other games or other resources or other systems. So you can't truly know if they're in profit or not. They only rushed it because ZZ was coming out in 15 days. Yep. Probably. Probably. I don't think it was 15 days. But yeah, probably. Oh, maybe it was actually, wasn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's just kind of wild. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my thoughts and state of Wuthering Waves. And I find it's like, guys, listen, I don't hate Wuthering Waves. I think Gacha games have loads of content for yeah, true. Gacha has no fucking content together. Like, you do the new patches, you give your opinion pieces, you talk about characters. Unless you're a guide maker, there's nothing to fucking do in these games. Like, there really is nothing to do in these games. You have to kind of force content out of it. And that's fine. I don't really care. Like, do whatever. Talk about it. People like to hear your opinions of games. And, like, systems and cool things and new rotations or whatever. But unless you're a guide maker, there's not that much content to make. Either that or just drama content. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like Wuthering Waves. I do prefer its system to Genshin in some ways, right? But it's also, I'm just starting to not care. And if 1.2 doesn't perk my interest, which I doubt it will, because it really does feel like it's going to be a filler patch, I'm really struggling to see my motivation to want to keep playing until, like, 2.0, which we have no idea when will drop either. Like, we have no idea what drop, but I really just feel that the eyes just aren't on the ball. Get this, I'm not hating. This isn't me being, oh, you're hating on Kurobi or Hoyo Shell. You'll know how I think about all Hoyo games. You'll know how I think about Gacha games in general. I think a lot of them have ass things about them. But this one genuinely does concern me because it's a brand new release. It's a brand new release. And it's I feel like they're just not catering to the core player base, which is the fundamental thing you should be doing. Do you have any idea how much it costs to develop a game? Genshin cost over 100 mil. It's alright, you criticize the things that you love. That's to show how much you care about stuff. Yeah, but you know, you criticize any game, people are gonna be like, oh, you're just doing this because you hate blah blah blah. I criticized the Chang Li trailer and my whole comments were like, oh, you hate Kuro, you're a Hoyo Shell. It's like, nah, the trailer for Chang Li was just fucking ass. The visuals were ass. Oh, but you didn't care about the story. I'm sorry, the story bit of the trailer was all the things we knew to begin with. Like, oh my god, it was so annoying. Like, holy shit, but people being like, I'm sorry, your opinion is just, like, incorrect. Like, fuck you! Like, who are you? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, I'm so sorry for having an opinion. And that's why I get concerned to make opinion pieces and upload them. Because people are gonna, like, just point fingers and be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. 1.2 trailer was so ass too. I agree, it was not good. I didn't care at all, but guess what? Because it's a filler patch! 1.2 is a filler patch! It's so insane to me, man. I don't even like JC. I don't even like something about JC that I just don't like. And I should like her because I'm an artist. I should like her, but I don't. I just hope they don't become ignorant like Halo did. They went from the best game in the world to unpopular game that nobody knows. Currently, Genshin's heading in that direction if they don't listen to the players actively. Yeah, well, Genshin's been on its fucking break since Lost Patch of Fontaine, right? Like, we all know that. Like, Genshin's only relevant in their main patches. And Natlan's coming soon. Relatively soon, right? Natlan's coming soon, so that's gonna be interesting. I will be playing Natlan, because I'm interested. Because I'll be interested. But yeah, but like Genshin has better pacing with their patch releases than Wuthering is having. Can I be so real? It's crazy. And don't say like, oh, Genshin had it worse in the beginning. Yeah, that was fucking years ago, and we have a new standard model that we adhere to that we've deemed to be good. People comparing it to Genshin like 5 fucking years ago is crazy to me. Like that's just not how you should compare things, because you talk about what you talk about what your competitors do in the current time. And right now the best model to follow is Honkai Star Rail, because they did that right. People were on Honkai Star Rail for months talking about it, content non-stop. They released events all the time. They had cool endgame content that they were releasing constantly for the first 6 months. Like, it was good. What they did was good, and just Wuthering isn't doing any of that. They're not doing any of that. They had time because PGL was still bringing in money. Hello, interesting time to come into stream. I agree with you statements on Wuwa. I'm just thinking, imagine we had raid mechanics or something like that, at least for now. Exactly, and there's just nothing. It feels like I'll be sure, like this is gonna sound so mean. It feels like an empty shell of a game. It has all the makings to be such a good gripping game, both story and gameplay, because I like the gameplay, but I'm just not feeling inspired to play. I'm really not. And I'm a super casual gacha tourist, and I'm so aware of that. But people like me are important to this game. People like me are important to this game, because if you could hook a casual player like me, that's a really good sign of a game. Honkai Star, I'm glazing it. I know I'm glazing it a little bit, but Honkai Star did that for me. I loved all the lawful stuff. I loved all the lawful stuff, and it kept me engaged. And that was one of the first gachas I actively played and logged into every single day. Every single day. I care because, do you know why? Do you know why? I'm a sort of person that cares about characters and story a lot. More than like other things with games. That's why I'm a Love and Deep Space player, right? I love getting into the grips with the characters. Honkai did that very well for me. These games are not hitting that itch for me at all. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm not like engaging with it as much. Genshin does it better than Wuthering Waves in terms of like caring about the characters. At least in my opinion. And the stories behind them. Just give raids or something to do it freaking co-op. Yeah, that would be so cool. Like imagine having a big ass boss you have to take down together. With like 4 people. That would be so cool. That would actually be so cool. Oh my god. Or like a team of 3. Or a team of 3 or something like that you could recruit people for. Oh my god, that'd be so sick. Like domains like Genshin where you could team with other people. But it's actually hard. But it's actually a big team battle. Yeah, don't make it like an MMO. But like a team battle, a 3-person team battle, because we all know gacha players don't have friends to play games with. So anything more than like 2 other friends is gonna be hard for you to like come by. So we'll stick to 3. We'll stick to 3 people. You know what I mean? 1.3 is probably where most of the hype is going to go with Black Shore, Shorekeeper, Camellia, and Scar for Lova. Yeah, true. I agree. But guess what? That's gonna be ages away. That's gonna be so long away. Like, how can you have a game that's just released and take so long to do anything interesting? Please. Oh my god. Even if you flop Overlord upgraded Echoes and those, yeah, don't focus on Echo XP, man. It's so dumb. More fun events, give better rewards for Echoes, make Echoes more interesting. Damn, they brought Echoes are a really cool concept in the game, but executed goddamn poorly. Listen, I don't give a toss. I played my whole main story playthrough without even equipping a single Echo. I couldn't give a toss about Echoes, man. Shiny Echoes were also disappointing. Yeah, I've never cared about Shiny Echoes at all in this game. I literally have never cared about Shiny Echoes. I also kind of feel bad for Yin Lin. She wasn't shown in the trailer and she went rogue agent stuff. Have they add story event? Dude, Raze, you bring another point. You bring another point that I really don't like. Well, this is to do with gacha games in general, right? This is why, okay? When you have a gacha game where you release a new character, let's say every 3 to 4 weeks, it's so hard for the game to develop a story for that one character that's deep and you could maybe relate to and you find it interesting, unless that character is integrated into the main story. If that character is not integrated into the main story in a meaningful way, it's very hard to kind of care about them and give them enough content for you to feel satisfied about them. Because once the main story part is gone, once their banner's gone, that's it. Maybe you'll get one story quest updated in future, but it's unlikely. Look at Genshin Impact, the amount of characters that they release and you kind of forget about after Yinlin's not even involved in the main story in any kind of meaningful way, right? It's really hard to like be excited about the characters you pull for. Changli and Jinshi are different, right? Because they're involved in the main story. But we'll forget about them down the line. We'll probably forget about them too, like you do for all the other ones. This is why I'm a big Love and Deep Space shill. Because they only have 4 goddamn characters you could experience. But you pull for more stuff and more story for your characters every single banner. It makes you so much more invested in the cast. And they keep you caring about a certain character. Whereas games like this, where they pop out, you know, like new characters like crazy, it's really hard for them to make content engaged around it. Yinlin just spawned in. She has no real input into the main story. Okay, to understand we're talking about gacha games, not Elden Ring. This game's not that deep. It's not that deep, but it could be. This is the thing. These games could be. There's no reason why they can't. There's literally, these games make so much money, there's literally no reason why they can't make it more deep. I'll be so real. There's no reason why they can't. Yeah, the Honkai Break 3rd battlesuit model I liked a lot. Quality over quantity? Exactly. That's why I love Love and Deep Space, and that's why it's making so much money. Because people care about the characters because they keep adding to the characters' personalities, stories, lore. That's why it makes so much money, and that's why it does Gacha right, because you pull for more stuff about the characters you care about rather than pump out 2 characters every other week. That's very... Majority of the characters in Genshin are just there and completely ignored. Xinyan or some more characters are just... Exactly! Unless you're an Archon, you're not really that important. I think we're pointing out the issues here because this game has so much potential, high-end compared to most Gachas, and I root for its harder. I root for its growth too. But you know what? People said the fucking exact same thing about Genshin Impact. People said the same stuff about Genshin Impact and nothing changed. Right? So I hope Kuro listens to us more because they have been. They have been listening more. So I really hope they take it into account. You know? I do like the quality of life updates. We're getting a 1.2 as well. Yeah, exactly. So I think I've come to my conclusion about my current thoughts of Wuthering Waves and the state of the game. Okay? So I appreciate y'all for being respectful. I love having this dialogue with you and, you know, in my chat. This has been very respectful. Again, I don't hate the game. I wish well for it. But I think it's really important to point out things that we don't like. If we don't talk about things we don't like, things won't ever change. You know? So, yeah. That's kind of my feeling. That's kind of my thought. So I appreciate you all being very respectful about this. And having a really good dialogue. This has been a very, very interesting conversation.